Hi, my name is Tara Kangarlou. I'm a writer, a journalist, and founder of a nonprofit organization called Art of Hope that supports Syrian refugees overcome the trauma and psychological wounds of war. As a reporter, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, in Jordan, Turkey, and Lebanon, covering the Syrian war. All of these people are somehow struggling to cope with the trauma and psychological vulnerabilities of displacement, living as refugees, and war at large. So you can imagine the toll that all of that has taken on them. And when you don't have the basic necessities, how can you even think about your mental health? I was seeing how little is being done in the psychosocial space for refugees, for war-torn children, for women and men who have left everything. So I weaponized that anger into impact. So the primary focus of Art of Hope and my work with the Syrian refugee population is trauma relief and psychosocial support. There's so many simple ways that you can handle it. Art therapy, of course, is a technique, but body and brain, mindfulness and breathing techniques and different yoga exercises are so useful. Nobody's going to come and open up in our first session about their emotional issues, especially when you're in an environment where they don't even talk about mental health or psychological issues. In our first center in the outskirts of Beirut, we worked with a lot of children who left Raqqa, and Raqqa was a stronghold of ISIS. So a lot of these children have seen beheadings, a lot of these children have seen incredibly brutal scenes. So one of the families who have 5 children from Raqqa, after a year, their children were completely different people. They had their aggression reduced, they had their anxiety reduced, they had their nightly urination stopped, and this is just through almost a year of art therapy and psychosocial support through the social worker and psychologist that I had on staff. And if we made that impact in less than a year, imagine what can 2 years of more intense therapy or art therapy or whatever you want to call it do for these kids. I want to be having an impact on the mind and heart of people, and even if that's 5 kids, then we did our job. When you're a journalist, when you're a reporter, when you're a writer, you're responsible for the story you're telling and for the people that you're telling their stories. So it's a very psychologically demanding process, but it's rewarding because you feel you are sharing something that has not been shared before and potentially can have an impact. For me, I always wanted to work in depth on stories, on issues that I cared about. I think working with any community that has gone through a crisis is incredibly humbling because you're having the privilege to share their story and understand what they're going through, to tell that story in the most accurate way that maintains that integrity. Every shelling, every strike, every bomb is a story, is a human being. And at the end of it all is that we're all people, we're all human beings.